In our latest Grade 7 Alberta Social Studies Inquiry unit at Connect Charter School, we decided to organize our inquiry around the following questions. How can we help people learn more about historically significant events in Canada's past in a way that will be both interesting and also show the relevance of history to their lives? The reason that we are doing this inquiry is because the Grade 7 curriculum is huge. There are a ton of bullet points, and we wanted to decide what would be the most meaningful for students, how we can create relevance and engage them in their learning. The inspiration from this unit came from an article that suggests Canadians, although proud of being Canadian, know very little about their history. In order to provide a hook, while also testing this assertion, we asked students to take the Historica Institute quiz to see how much they knew about Canadian history.
Okay. Where did General Wolfe and the British Army defeat the French Army for control of Quebec in 1759? The Salisbury Plains, the Great Plains, or the Plains of Abraham? No idea?
No.
When the wars with Canada invaded by the United States?
Oh my gosh. Name of the Prime Minister during the worst years of this?
Yes.
After also asking their parents to take the quiz, students realized that it was true. Many Canadians have difficulty answering even the most basic facts about Canadian history. This led to a discussion on whether studying Canadian history is important and why we should learn about Canada's past.
Well, a very big, important question I have to ask you guys, and this is going to guide sort of the rest of our unit, is it important to learn about Canada's past?
Yeah, we have to keep our identities and cultures separate so that it doesn't get joined, say, like by the UK or the US.
Why is that important?
Because then we won't be Canadians anymore.
I think we should learn about the past that directly affects us or affects the future.
Because then you know how we came upon Canada, and then and you know how, like, why every rule came, so you don't think it's just a stupid rule.
To help students more deeply consider how we can help people learn about historically significant events in Canada's past in a way that is both relevant and interesting, in the next phase of the unit, we introduce students to the historical thinking concept of historical significance that is used by historians to decide which events are historically important and which ones are less so, and modeled this process in a teacher debate around which events in Calgary's history, the establishment of Fort Calgary, the Calgary Stampede, or the Great Flood of 2013, was the most historically significant. During the debate, students used the live stream program Today's Meet to post comments about the points and evidence we were using to make our argument. After revisiting the concept of historical significance, students chose one event among a list of 16 and then set off to prepare for their own debate where they would argue for the inclusion of their event in a list of the top 5 most significant events in Canadian history. In line with our inquiry framework, students handed in their debate script for formative feedback before the actual debate. On day 1 of the debate, inspired by the CBC Canada Reads format used by grade 9 teachers at our school last year, students made their argument in groups of 5 and then voted on which 2 events seemed to be the least historically significant.
Restaurants, the banks, which actually sort of like means that there's only one bank to go to.
They don't really impact us today, as I said before. They usually just are taken for granted.
Because a bunch of them died, even more grew ill, and when all of them got back after I think 12 years, they were their land had been completely settled by the British.
On the next day, the 3 winners from each group went to the next round in order to determine the 5 most significant events in Canadian history. While these students were debating their event, as within the teacher-led debate, the other students asked questions and provided feedback on Today's Meet. As a way to help students further respond to our overarching inquiry question, in the next phase of the unit, groups of 5 students in each class were presented with the task of creating a Common Craft video on the historical importance of one of the 5 events chosen during the debate process. Before creating their presentation, we generated criteria for a powerful Common Craft presentation, and as a class, we analyzed different examples of this medium. As a culminating activity, in the final symposium and showcase at Mount Royal University, led by 2 professional historians, students began by discussing a series of issues related to the importance and relevance of learning history. After this discussion, the professors and other volunteers watched and then gave feedback on the students' Common Craft presentations. After receiving this final formative feedback loop, students completed their Common Craft presentation to be housed on an online website to allow people across Canada and the world to learn more about Canadian history. In the final phase of this inquiry unit, we drew on social networking platforms such as Twitter and Facebook to encourage Canadians and people around the world to visit our site and vote on which event they felt was the most historically significant.